Hi everyone! So we're taking a little bit of a break from doing recipes inspired by our favorite children's books and novels, and we're going to try a little bit of book characters. So I totally get the last minute thing. I mean, when I throw parties, I will spend an entire week doing up my house so it makes the experience like really real. And then I get 20-30 minutes before my guests are about to arrive, and I realize I need to turn my face from this into something like this. So I decided I was going to set myself a challenge today, and I was going to see if I could make Cruella De Vil happen in 20 minutes. So, turns out that I can't multitask, so trying to do my makeup and trying to talk to camera just wasn't working. So I am just going to mute that and I'm just going to talk over the video. As you can see, when I'm starting off, I'm just starting with the base. Look, I've got 20 minutes, the timer's on. You just have to get this done. In terms of eyebrows, I did try doing a full face a few months ago. Some of you guys would have seen that on Instagram. I ended up doing the whole school glue thing to completely mask my eyebrows. It does work even if you've got black eyebrows. I will try to find the video that I watched to learn how to do it properly, and I'll pop that link below just in case you guys do have time, but just be aware it took forever to do. So just because I'm not doing full eyebrows doesn't mean I don't want my eyebrows on point, because Cruella has got some serious style going on there. So I am still going to use that school glue just to help shape it. I'm sure those of you who do makeup on a regular basis probably have some much better products, but this is just going to help me flatten my eyebrows and shape them into a really nice sharp point. Now, while I am putting on a base of primer and foundation, I'm really just quickly doing this roughly, and I'm just going to start by focusing on the eye area, because if you're anything like me, I end up getting smudges and makeup stuff all over my face, and I end up having to wipe that foundation off and start again. So I'm just going to focus on getting a nice base down for my eyes. So I'm just taking a skin color just to create a nice smooth finish. So you can pick and choose where your inspiration comes from. At the end of the day, there are some similarities. In the book, she's described as having a very pointed nose, and her hair is parted severely down the middle. One half of it was black and the other white. So that's where that comes from. But when it comes to skin, in the movie, she has got sort of a whitish gray skin color, but then in the book she's described as having dark skin. So it's entirely up to you what you take inspiration from. Basically what I'm saying is you can be any skin color and you can completely pull off Cruella De Vil. So the one thing I find when I'm putting on makeup for costumes and parties is if I don't have the wig on, I end up doing my makeup like understated, because I guess what I'm trying to do is make myself look better. But then you put the wig on and then you kind of realize like, oh, it really actually hasn't done much. So I'm going to pop this wig on, because I will try to remember to take my wig off at the end so you can see the difference, but it ends up being really dramatic. Sometimes it looks a little bit drag queen style because it's just so over the top, but that's the whole point. You aren't supposed to be you, you're supposed to be someone else. So I definitely recommend that if you aren't really used to playing around with makeup and doing your eyes and your eyebrows and lips and whatever, this just kind of takes the edge off, because you realize that you aren't actually doing up your face, you're doing up Cruella De Vil's. Now I am going to start, as I said, onto the eyes. So what I'm doing, I'm actually not using that many products, but I am using a black powder and an angle brush. I've got this really great stuff. It's like I want to call it a sealer, but basically it's a liquid that you pop into your eyeshadow and it turns it into a liquid gel in a sense. And I just find it glides on a whole lot easier. So I just mix what I need. I've got a few brushes going on. This one is a sharp eyeliner pen. The ink has run out ages ago, but what I end up doing is I wash a lot of the brushes, especially if they're really good quality. That way they're nice and clean, and I store them for when I need to use them for costume. Now I'm going to get my base color done. So I'm going to take a bright green and just swoosh that over my eyelids. I'm going to grab some more of that liquid sealer and pop that into the eyeshadow, because what that's going to do is really make it really vibrant and it's going to really pop. So I'm just taking a little bit of a flat brush. I'm not sure what the different names are, but I'm just going to swoop this over my eyelid on top of that green. As you can see, that's already coming up really nice and bright. Now I know the first time I tried doing the big full face Cruella makeup, I did take my eyelid a whole lot higher, and I find that so long as you're painting it in and then lining that whole area with black, you can get away with it, because then you're almost creating a different eye shape and whatever. So if you want to go even more cartoony, it's completely doable. Just put your color down first, and then again with that liquid eyeliner, like that fine pen, just draw with black around the edge. Now, even if you aren't going cartoony, you're still going to want to create a really strong eye. And I just find this liquid eyeliner just makes it a whole lot easier. Now, I'm about to do this wrong. And I'm looking up and I'm going to completely smudge that. Oh, look at that. So what not to do. You are going to want to look down at a mirror, and that way it's going to go on smoothly, and just kind of keep your eye closed for a second while it dries and sets. And it looks really weird right now, but I promise it will get better. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of a flat brush and some black powder, and then I'm going to start swooping that. Now that that liquid gel is dry, I'm going to start swooping that powder in from the outside corner inwards. I'm basically just wanting to leave like a line of green right down the middle of my eyelid. And then I'm going to do the same for the inside. Now don't worry too much about getting this like perfect. I mean, you do want it to be right, but you are also going to grab a brush just afterwards and you're going to blend this all out. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of a little, I don't know, eyeshadow puffy brush. I'm just going to blend, and let that sort of smudge the eyeline out. It's just going to make it a little bit more forgiving. As you can see, this is why I said that I don't worry so much about doing my makeup underneath my eye, because I end up rubbing it off, and look at that, I already look exhausted. And just as a comparison, you can see with what we started with, where it was just that line and that green, and just by adding that little bit of eyeshadow from the inside and the outside, suddenly you've got a little bit more drama going on. So we're just going to jump ahead with this one. As you can see, all turns out well. So while it does look a little silly to begin with, you just kind of keep going. Now, before we get our fake eyelashes on, I would definitely say get some mascara on. I have heard it just sort of helps the fake eyelashes sit a little bit better on top. I'm guessing that's right. I just find that I need my eyelashes done anyways, and that kind of just helps pull it together. But you do want fake eyelashes to create that Cruella De Vil drama. Now, I am doing the ones where you use the eyelash glue. I actually have found a really great bunch where they're actually magnetic. They're super simple to pop on, take a fraction of the time, and like I know with me, I'm not really skilled with the eyelash glue, and I sometimes get it stuck all over my face. Now, I am just popping it on. I am just letting it sit for a minute, and that way the glue becomes tacky and doesn't smear so badly. So it's actually a whole lot easier to press in, but it can be a little bit of a messy process if you aren't used to it. Now, in that minute that I'm letting those eyelashes just sort of become tacky, I'm going to work on my eyebrows. So I'm grabbing again that liquid eyeliner, and I'm just doing a fine line just to emphasize where the eyebrow is supposed to be. Now, I am not changing my eyebrows, I'm just working with my shape, but I'm making them more dramatic. The one thing I found is to make yourself not look so angry, start with where your eyebrow line actually starts. Like, don't try dropping it down or starting it higher or whatever. And I started in the middle and just created a line that kind of runs through. But then as I get closer to that top part where my arch is, then I start bringing the line up. We're going to add shadow afterwards, but it seems just to draw your eye, so it seems like the eyebrow is arching up a little bit more. Now, I will say that having dark eyebrows naturally can actually be really difficult, because when you go to fill them in, browns don't work so well, so I find a gray, or in this case, because I'm going as a villain, black is completely fine, but you have to go really lightly. I know you're supposed to fill in your eyebrows, but I can look really angry if I fill this in incorrectly. So I'm going light, not doing too much, but just enough so it really extends the eyebrow line. Now, I just realized that I've pretty much got a minute to go, so I am going to quickly dash on some lip liner. Hopefully this is going to help the lipstick stay. And instead of fluffing around, I really should be getting on with my lipstick right now, but that's going to be a nice dark color. And with that, we're going to want to finally pop on our eyelashes. Glue didn't seem to go anywhere, so sometimes I think it just comes down to luck. But that is how much of a difference those eyelashes make. So it is so worth the extra time getting those eyes done properly. So as you can see, I made it to 20 minutes and didn't quite make it. I would definitely say if you are really running out of time and this is what you've hit, I would grab stick foundation and just smush it all over your face just to cover dark circles and blemishes and everything, and just create that really perfect finish for the rest. I'm going to keep going though. I would rather be 10 minutes late than not completely have a face finish, considering I've put in this amount of work just to get my eyes done. So we're going to keep going. So make sure your face and also your little paws are clean, especially before you start doing your foundation. I find I have smudged plenty of black and had to sort of restart my face to some degree. So take it just an extra second just to clean up before you finish off. But as you can see, I'm just grabbing stick foundation. Would I normally use this? No, it catches in all the creases of my eyes and any light wrinkles that I'm starting to get. But you know, when it comes to costume, it creates a really quick, fast base. So now I am grabbing a little bit of a sponge brush just to push this into the skin. And that way I'm not losing any of that onto my fingers. And just sort of starting to blend that all in. You're also gonna grab that stick and kind of just smush it all over any blemishes or any imperfections on your face that you want to cover. Then we're gonna go in and start to contour the nose and also the cheeks. So I grabbed like a liquid contour and a highlight because we're gonna be using both. What I end up doing is, Cruella has like really sharp cheekbones. So I'm gonna create almost like a little L shaped, and I'm just dotting them first, just so I've got a path to follow. I'm also grabbing that contour and just creating a little bit of shading just around the chin area, and it just helps create that little bit of a pointy chin. Now I'm grabbing a sponge brush and kind of just help blending that out. Then I end up going back over, only because I'm being a little wary of putting this on, but I am going to add just a little bit more, like a few drops right on top of that, because I really want these cheekbones to look like they're really hollowed out. It's going to look really quite dark, but don't worry, you can always dab off it if you find it's too much. So I'm just grabbing a sponge for this one. And you don't want it to be like solid, which is why I'm not doing like a full triangle or whatever. You want it to look like it's heavier on top and sort of swoops downwards and lightens like a gradation as you go down towards the jawline. We're just gonna grab a highlight and we're gonna put that just on top of where the contour is, and it's just gonna create much more of a chiseled line. So one of the final things we need to do is really get this pointed Cruella De Vil nose happening. Especially if you've got a broad, strong nose like mine is, you are going to want to contour it. So I find I just grab that contour gel. I'm not going straight down the bridge of my nose. I'm creating some dots just on either side because it's going to create the illusion of it being skinnier, but also you can use it to create the illusion of it being longer. So I'm actually going to start almost where my eyebrow starts, and I'm going to blend that out. I'm just going to dot that all the way down and around. And it depends on what you're wanting to emphasize. For me, I'm just wanting skinny, long, narrow. Some people really want to emphasize that really sharp, almost like looks like a sharp pig's nose when they do the Disney version. Some people really want to emphasize that. So there's probably another way of contouring for that. For me, I'm just happy to just go with skinny and long. I'm also going to take that contour and just dot it around. I think it's called like the nasal flaps, maybe, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to dot those around, and I'm just going to emphasize that as well. If you feel it's not enough, just go over with some more, or if you feel it's too much, just take a sponge and you can just dab a little bit off. But I would say go strong. You're going for a character. Most of the parties are at night, so you really want your makeup to show up well. Now it's not just about contouring though, so I am grabbing a highlighter as well, and I'm just going to dab some dots right down the center, and that's just going to emphasize the length of my nose. I'm running that just down the bridge. And because it seems at the moment I'm also just wanting to fluff about, I'm also just popping some highlighter just into the arch of where like my brow bone is, just to emphasize that as well. Again, this is all like nice to haves by this point. Now the final thing I forgot to show was powdering my face. I grab a transparent powder and I take a big dusting brush and I sort of just puff that all over and just let that sit for a few minutes, and then you're just going to swoop that off. You don't want to color because you don't want to change what your contouring and your highlighting is like, but at least it helps sort of set the makeup in. But at least it means that it's going to hold your makeup at least until you finish the party. All right, that is enough fluffing around. This face is gonna have to do, didn't quite make the 20-minute challenge, just a little over. Again, for someone who does not usually do her makeup that much, not too bad for time. In saying that, we are gonna move on to the next video. You're gonna want to make your costume. So I'm gonna pop the link here, and I'll be seeing you guys there.